welcome to another edition of Bearcat Update. Tim Hanna here, as usual. Hope everyone had an awesome and safe homecoming week last week. And what a week it was. We've got all the sports action for you. But first, sports reporter Cody Cooper took a chance to talk to a few alumni on Saturday, including some Bearcat fans, to show them some love for all the support they bring as the 12th man each and every Saturday.
Homecoming to Northwest, I think overall it means family. You know, we always talk about Bearcat family and the Northwest family. And it's just one of those times that we get that whole family back here together, all the alumni from Northwest and current students and future students are here. And it's just a great time to come out and celebrate Bearcat spirit and cheer on our Bearcats.
In 1959 and 1961, I was in the 4th and 5th grades at Horace Mann. My dad was a teacher here, and then I came back and got my degree in 74, and my master's degree in 84, so I spent like 25 years on campus. But we went to the Emporia State game this year, and I got talking with this gentleman I was sitting next to. I said, well, where are you from? He said, Platte City. And I said, well, have you ever heard of a guy named Larry? And he said, well, that's Larry at the end of the booth. There's Larry. You and I were roommates when we were freshmen in 68, 69. Hadn't seen him in 45 years. But so a lot of times I come back here, I run into people and make connections that I had at Northwest years ago. And I'm reconnecting now, and it's pretty kind of cool.
That fan support has helped catapult the Bearcat football team to 8-0 on the season with 23 consecutive victories coming into Saturday. That's one shy of a school record. Now, Brett Peters and Joseph Andrews were at Media Day last week to talk to head coach Adam Dorrell. Dorrell says he doesn't want to underestimate the Pitt State Gorillas.
I think the first thing you got to be a little bit careful of is looking at the statistics, because it's Pittsburgh State. That's number one. Number two, they've had a ton of injuries, and you know I always have a lot of respect for their football program and their coaching staff, because you can put on the film and you see they have had a lot of injuries, and you don't ever hear them talk about it. So, us and them are a lot alike. Next man up, do your best. So we're trying to be a little careful of that, because maybe they'll get some of those guys back this week. Our focus is just we have a lot of respect for Pittsburgh State, and I think it starts there. I think you have to respect them as a football program. I think they're very blue-collar, tough, a very, very well-coached football team. And so as far as what you're alluding to, certainly that's there. But to me, it starts with understanding it's going to have to be a very physical football game. We're going to have to execute at a high level. If you start with those two things, I think those things will naturally come. They've shuffled a lot of people from free safety to strong safety to their bandit spot. And so I think that's maybe been a little bit of their issue with some of those yardage.
The Bearcats would get off to an early start in the first quarter here. A little shovel pass to wide receiver Randy Schmidt, as he'll take that one in and give the Bearcats an early lead. It'd be all Bearcats in this one as Zimmerman takes a bootleg to the right side for the second score of the first half. They'd go into the second quarter leading 14-0. In the second quarter is where they would turn it on here. Zimmerman drops back to pass, has a wide receiver open down the right side of the field, and it's Shane Williams, and he says, "Get off me," as he gets into the end zone there for 6. Shane Williams would have 2 touchdowns on the day. Here, another deep ball from Zimmerman here. Down the field, Sean Bain using that breakaway speed, and he would be in for 6. That one, a 68-yard touchdown pass. The Bearcats would go on to win 69-10. Kyle Zimmerman was 19 for 21 on the day with 385 passing yards, 7 total touchdowns, 6 through the air, 1 on the ground. Zimmerman has now thrown 31 touchdowns without an interception and completed over 70% of his attempts. Not to mention 4 touchdowns he's added with his legs this season. That's an average of 4 touchdowns a game he's responsible for. The Cats would punch in 10 total touchdowns on Saturday, 2 of which were interception returns for scores, including the razzle-dazzle score that ended the first half. We'll take a look at that later in the show. With this win, the Cats solidify themselves as the top dogs in not just the MIAA, but the entire country. Emporia State sits second in the conference at 8-1, their lone loss on the season coming at the hands of the Bearcats. The rest of the division seems out of playoff contention at this point in the season. The Cats will be back in action in Fort Hays, Kansas, taking on the Tigers next Saturday. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. When we return, we'll take a look at what some have called the craziest play in the history of Bearcat football and talk Bearcat volleyball right here on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Now, well, Bearcat fans were taking in all the festivities of homecoming. The ladies of the Bearcat volleyball team were gone on a 2-day road trip through Kansas. Unfortunately for the girls, they dropped their match Friday to Washburn 3-0 and then barely lose out to Emporia State in a hotly contested match that would end 3-2 in favor of the Hornets. Now, not as much this weekend was about the Bearcats and all things Northwest. More football was to be played for Maryville High School as they were in the semifinal of the Class 3 District 8 playoffs, taking on the 4-seed St. Pius X on Friday. The Spoofhounds came into this one the #1 overall seed in Class 3. Here, running back Matt Twaddle takes in a 1-yard touchdown there as he spins off the right tackle. Mispaid PAT gives the Spoofhounds a 6-0 lead, though injured on the play. Senior John Zimmerman as he'd exit the ball game there with an apparent leg injury. Head coach Webb would comment later, said his status is to be determined for next Saturday. Here, Oglesby has a long pass down the field. He has Eli Dowis down the left side, 37-yard touchdown, and that puts the Hounds up 31-7. They'd go on to win 45-7 with 524 yards. Total offense, 305 on the ground, 219 through the air. The Spoofhounds will be in action for the District 8 championship against 11-0 Richmond on Friday night at 7 p.m. Stay tuned, still to come. I sit down with junior running back Jordan Grove of the Bearcat football team right here on Bearcat Update. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Now, before we get to our interview for tonight, we're going to take a look at what some have called the craziest play to ever take place at Bearcat Stadium. Let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll talk to Jordan Grove about it.
He wants nothing behind his team here. And that one's intercepted.
This could be trouble.
That one is picked up by Kevin Bird. And Bird crossing the field and staying on his feet until he's knocked down and the ball pops free. And we're still alive. Oh, a rugby game has broken out. And in slow motion, that's a touchdown for the Bearcats.
Now, what a crazy play that was, really capping off the second half and kind of showing the dominance of the Bearcats. What were your thoughts going into that play? I know, obviously, as an offensive player, you weren't out there, but I know a lot of excitement on the sideline when that was taking place. What were your thoughts?
I mean, we had our 2-minute cards ready to go in case we did get a chance after they threw that up, see if we get another score in before half. But, I mean, once they threw that up, I mean, I figured we'd probably just bat it down and go in. But obviously Berg picked it off and he was rolling. I thought he was going to house it at first, and then all of a sudden he got down to like the 40 or whatever it was, and they stopped him. He just tossed it back, and obviously what you saw in the play, it was craziness. And
yeah, Eddie with the, as some would say, the pure unadulterated carelessness or confidence, depending what you want to call it.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Everybody was going freaking nuts. I think we ended up getting a penalty because I think everyone on the team ran on the field out of excitedness. But you know what? Hey, if something like that calls for a celebration. So
yeah, unfortunately for Simon Mathisen, they moved him back about a 35-yard PAT that he ended up missing. It kind of like he had a 50 straight streak that he ended up. He'll get over it though, because ended up winning though 69-10. Let's talk about this game. A dominating performance of a team that just 2 years ago came here on homecoming and really dominated us with some would say the cheap sky kick. What was the week preparation for Pitt State? I mean, everyone had that thought in the back of their mind. They wanted revenge.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've been doing well this year, and they're not as solid as they were that year. But you always, with a rivalry like Pitt State, you always got to come prepared, and because especially against us, everyone's going to bring their top game. So, I mean, we were just preparing as hard as we can all week, and coaches put together a good game plan, and we executed it. So.
I mean, what's this ride been like for you? I know that was 24 straight victories. That's a ties the record here at Northwest for most consecutive wins. You're 9-0 this season, and I know you guys say you want to take it one game at a time. Is it hard not to want to overlook teams?
I mean, yeah, obviously always think about that, like the end of the season, the end goal. But I mean, to get to that end goal, you got to take it 1 week at a time because you can't overlook anybody. And any given Sunday or Saturday in this case, I guess. Anyone can take out anybody, so you just got to bring it all every week.
Let's kind of talk about you as yourself this season. You lead the team in receptions with 31. You got 350 yards in the air and 4 touchdowns on the ground. You don't get a ton of carries. You're more of that little, heel route, outlet pass. Kind of talk about how your season's going and how do you mentally prepare for every game? Like, I know there's a game plan for you, but you really just seem to go out every single game and dominate, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I just watch film as much as possible, get an edge on them, get to know their tendencies, what defenses they're running, what blitzes, how they show their blitzes, that stuff. And then obviously the coaches put together a really good game plan to put our players in good positions to make plays. So it all works out pretty well.
I know the guy passing you the ball those 31 times, Kyle, is having an incredible season. He's accounted for 34 touchdowns, 31 through the air, no interceptions. Talk about it is his first year starting. What is that like, having a quarterback who's technically new, but he's been a leader for years on this team?
Oh, yeah, Zimmy's having an amazing season. I mean, a lot of people had doubted or were doubting him because he didn't have that experience coming in, but I think our teammates all believed in him, and he put in a ton of work in the offseason and during the summer and doing 7-on-7 and stuff. So, I mean, we all knew that he had what it took, and he's a great leader too, a great guy. So, I mean, obviously he's doing very well.
I mean, what's the mindset inside the locker room? Not just him as a leader, but just, I guess, on the offensive side of the ball. There's a lot of vocal leaders on this team. Who else has really stepped up to, put the bigger shoes on and be leaders?
I mean, Phil. He was a captain last year as a junior, which rarely happens here. So, I mean, he's always stepping up and taking control and being a good leader for everyone, really. So.
All right, and finally, you're going to take on Fort Hays State next week, correct?
Yep.
What are we looking? They're 6-3 on the season, but they're ranked 4th right now in the MIAA, and I know you just mentioned don't want to overlook them. What can we expect from this Saturday?
Solid team. I haven't dove into too much film yet, but looking to get in that early tomorrow morning and get a good look at them, and I'm sure they're going to come in, or I guess we go there. They'll give us their best. They're undefeated at home this season, so they're going to give us a good look and a good game. All
right, excited to see that. Hopefully going 10-0. That's all the time we have. Jordan, pleasure having you on tonight. Always good talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, be sure to tune in every Monday through Thursday here to Bearcat Update at 6 o'clock on Channel 8, KNWT. Also follow us on Twitter at Bearcat Update _8 and on Facebook at Bearcat Update. Signing off for me and the rest of the staff here, I'm Tim Hanna.